All right, so for this video, I kind of wanted to talk about basically the role of like media, but also like the internet, particularly in the generation of Loosh, in this Loosh farm, basically, because this is something that I've noticed just as I've gone online, gone online less and less, and as I've looked at like social media. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, imagine how much Loosh the internet generates in a single day. Think about the like, places like Twitter or 4chan, or there are places like that where like everyone's mad at each other and everyone's fighting against each other and just doing all this and just making each other mad for no reason at all. Right? Like, imagine how much that like Loosh that generates, like the social media interaction first of all, but also I do think that there is a role that like the overstimulation sort of plays in all the Loosh generation stuff, right? Because I do think that like the whole overstimulation, the whole oh my gosh, what is it? Like the whole like particularly for me, like a problem with me is that I listen to music like a lot, and and obviously have like the YouTube Shorts, you have like the TikTok and all this other stuff, just constant bombardment and of like stimulation, and I think a lot of that stimulation, especially when it comes to like when people talk about like doom scrolling, right? Like they're scrolling through videos that talk about like the world's ending and the world sucks and all this stuff, and they're just doom scrolling and they're all depressed. Or you have people, or you have videos that like make people mad, or you have even like the videos that make people laugh, right? And you know what it makes me think of right now is it makes me think of like the whole like the theater masks, right? You have like the one like the one happy one, and the one sad one, right? And it sort of makes me think of that, like almost like the polarities, right? Like it's almost like a positive or negative voltage, right? Where it's like they try to generate that response with like as many with the scrolling. It's like as many videos as possible. Like, how do we generate that response out of these humans, right? It's kind of like the mentality I believe behind like the archons and like the internet and like trying to put technology into people's hands, right? But staying on topic here, I do believe that the oh my gosh, like that the internet, the media, does have a huge role to play in basically generating Loosh, because of the fact that like it's almost like the extreme emotional responses that people have, where they'll do like huh, or they get like it's like they get it's like it's like pushing a button and getting a response, and it's like that response that happens all the time, and especially when you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, especially for like my generation, when you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, it's almost like you're completely unaware of your state of consciousness, meaning that basically um, it's very easy to program you. First of all, when you get lulled into like the scrolling, but secondly, it's very easy for you to get mad or to get sad or to get angry because of something that you see online that has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with your life. It has nothing. It might be like a random YouTuber beef, or it might be something that happened on like the other side of the world, or something like that. You might just get mad because it's something that has is completely unrelated to you, right? And so I do think that like the internet, but also like listening to music all the time, for me, and like listening to or like watching YouTube Shorts all the time. Like it's gotten so bad, and this is something that I need to work on. Just just straight up, I just need to work on this. Where it's like every time I go to the restroom, it's like I have to like have YouTube Shorts scrolling or whatever. And I do feel like this is also a part of the like the Saturn sort of moon matrix, if you want to put it that way, because it's almost like the like all the screens on like the phones and on the computers. It's like a black screen, right? It's like Black Mirror, right? Like it's like a black screen, a black mirror. It reminds me of like the black cube of Saturn. So that might be another thing that like if you think about like the microchips are like black squares, right? Like the two-dimensional version of a 3D like cube. Okay, the hexagram is like the 2D version of a 3D cube, but you get what I mean though. It's like the black. It reminds me of the black cube of Saturn. You also have like Black Rock, right? But going back to the topic at hand, I do believe that the internet, and especially social media, has a huge role to play in sort of like it's almost like the modernized version of generating Loosh, generating panic, generating negative emotion on a consistent level, where you have people just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and whatever, and they have complete control of the algorithm. They can control what is put in front of you, what's put into your perception, and that's really is the goal. That really is the goal. Is that eventually what they want to do is they want to completely control human perception through putting a chip in your head, right? But they've started to do this, and especially if you look at like iPad kids, right? Like they've started to do this with um, like they've started to do this with like iPad kids and like trying to put an iPad in front of like their children in front of the children and getting them addicted at a young age, so that it's almost like it gets to the point where people's entire perception of reality is dictated by an algorithm, right? People's entire perception of reality is dictated by, what YouTube or what TikTok puts in front of them, right? And yet again, that's like the beginning stages of the final goal of of controlling the human perception directly technologically, right? And so I do feel, and this is like an intuitive download that I've just gotten recently, um, but I do believe that the internet does seem to have a huge role to play in it, and eventually like technology as a whole, and like the cybernetic enhancements and like the whole Neuralink stuff that like Elon is the cult's frontman, the cabal frontman Elon Musk, the whole brain chip stuff that he's promoting, like eventually like that's the end game, is the assimilation of the human mind with artificial intelligence, right? And so I do believe that the internet, and not only has a huge role in trying to assimilate humanity into a hive mind, but also that like the internet as a whole is sort of like that. I would argue that most of it is a loose generation sort of playground, right? Because if you think about like most social media platforms and most social media in general, like none of it benefits the human. I mean, when was the last time that you said Twitter made me a better person? YouTube Shorts made me a better person, right? Doom scrolling made me a better person, right? Like when was the last time you said like, it doesn't make you a better person, and it also brings you through a roller coaster of emotion. Like you can go through like a YouTube Shorts sort of sprint of just scrolling, and you can come out the other side just completely just worn out, like you ran a marathon. Or you can just completely. And another thing too about the overstimulation is I also feel like anytime I come out the other side of scrolling through YouTube Shorts or just being overstimulated, like I feel like I ran a marathon or something. Like I feel like my energy was like drained somehow, right? And so I do feel like that there is real, and this is something that to be careful with. It's almost like a message to sort of be careful with technology, to be careful with to be careful with like what information you allow yourself to be exposed to. And this is where books come in, right? Like if you read a book, right, books have you can control the information that you're consuming. It's not randomized or generated by an algorithm. If you buy a book about this subject, you're going to read about that subject, right? But just in general, I would say like be careful about the internet. Be careful about the type of stuff that you're consuming on the internet, and just know that like the internet is a huge sort of I believe it's a huge attack vector for energy harvesting by these archons, these entities in the astral plane, right? And so I would say, and yeah, yet again, this is like an intuitive download that I've just been getting. Like, does the internet generate loosh? Of course it does, right? It does, YouTube Shorts and TikTok, like the short form overstimulate. Yet again, overstimulation. It's almost like it's almost like you're like a water balloon, and every time you scroll through YouTube Shorts, YouTube Shorts is for me, but like you also have like TikTok and stuff like that. But anytime you scroll through that, it's almost like poking little holes in the water balloon and sort of leaking psychic energy, right? And so I just wanted to make a video about that, just be careful about the internet. Be careful about your energy when it comes to everything, and especially with technology, because this technology is essentially designed to leak your psychic energy in a lot of ways. But yeah, that's the video.